program where we use this platform to highlight the innovators, the motivators, the teachers, the preachers, the coaches, and those that are willing to give back their time, also known as the disruptors that are shaking the things up, all in the name of business ownership. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Will Moreland, and he will share a little bit about his journey into government contracting. Hello and welcome, Will.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your program and bringing me on your platform. I'm super excited about being here, ready to talk business.
All right, there we go. Well, I was introduced to you from my good friend Arlen Thompson, and I know she sends highly qualified people. So here we are, and I do appreciate you for taking the time out to share. Again, government contracting is also known as, hocus pocus and lions and tigers and bears. People really don't know what they don't know, but those that are in the game, they're there to stay. So I was so appreciative when I found you in your bio and just excited about highlighting you on this underground journey. And that's what it's all about. We use this platform truly to help others understand what they don't know, success stories such as yours, so that they can take the mystery out of getting into government contracting and why they should be here. So without further, I'd like to highlight you and you just share how you got into government contracting, how that journey happened for you.
Yeah, so, our good friend Arlen, she always says this quote, success leaves clues, success leaves clues. And in my endeavor to follow those clues, I reached out to a gentleman one day. I saw him, he was here in the Arizona area where I live, and I saw that he was having some great success in his business. And so I reached out to him and I asked if I could have a meeting with him. And so we ended up having this lunch meeting, and I just wanted to hear his success story. I wanted to hear his journey of how I read his bio, and I think I had come across him in a newspaper. He had just won some local award. And so I wanted to learn more about him. So we go out to lunch and we're talking, and he begins to tell me his story and how he was a struggling entrepreneur. His company was just, barely making it. And then he did something that allowed his company to go from barely making it to being worth $25 million. So now he had my attention. Wait a minute, $25 million in a short period of time. He had told me he was struggling for all these years, and he did this one thing that took his business from struggling to being worth 25 million. So I said, what is that? And he said, I got into government contracting. I got into government contracting. I said, government contracting. And as you alluded to earlier, I had heard about government contracting, but I was like, I'm not fooling with the government. I don't want to deal with them. I'm not, going through all that rigmarole. And he told me, he says, it is worth it to go through all the rigmarole, because once you get through on the other side, it's very profitable and beneficial. And so he told me, he's an engineer. He had an engineer company. They do contracting and things like that. And he said when he got into this government program, because he was the small guy, he was a subcontractor. He was a subcontractor, and larger companies would get the contract. They would then subcontract to him. And I knew nothing about this world, but as we were speaking, something clicked on me, and I asked myself the question, I wonder if this will work in my business. The way he modeled his construction company, I said, I'm in training and development, but I wonder if this same process would work for me. And so I said, if one of the larger training companies could subcontract me, if they could give me contracts that they didn't want, it was too small for them or whatever, or they didn't have the niche for it. And so once I left that meeting, I started researching, and that's exactly what I did. I went and talked with the SBA, found out what I needed to do to get a part of the program, and my whole model was I was going to reach out to larger training companies and partner with them and say, hey, I'll go after some contracts, and if they say I'm not big enough or I don't have the bandwidth to handle them, then I'll refer you. And if you get some contracts that, maybe a little bit too small or not in your window, send them to me. And so I did find some companies that were willing to do that, and it kind of spawned from there. So I'll stop and, if you have some
Okay.
questions.
Awesome. So kudos to you, first of all, for I'll just say being obedient to yourself, following the yellow brick road, okay?
Right.
And the results speak for themselves. But let me back you up, because I know that you are a veteran. Again,
Yes.
hats off to you for service. And talk about that. In other words, I share with individuals that there are lanes, many lanes that the government has for people to get pools of money that are set aside specifically for them. So as difficult as government contracting may be to get into, there are lanes and there are advantages of that lane. So that's my job, is to take advantage of the advantage and help people understand what's out there to take away some of that noise and mystery. So talk about, please, how you got certified. In other words, was certification a difficult journey for you?
Not at all. And, I, like most individuals, I was not taking advantage of what was available to me. As a veteran, I ran my company, my first company, for the first probably 10 years, not being certified, not being minority certified, not being veteran certified, not being disabled veteran certified. Because once again, I just had that mindset of, man, I'm not fooling with the government. I'm not going through all of that rigmarole. Right. And so I didn't even, some other people had talked to me about it, but I said, man, I don't have time for all that. But talking to this mentor, he asked me, he says, Will, are you veteran certified? Are you minority certified? And I was like, no, I'm not any of that. And he gave me the information, gave me the websites to go to. And to answer your question, the certification was as simple as me going to the website, uploading my DD 214. I think it took less than a week. Maybe I can't even remember. I think less than a week for them to come back and certify and say I was a registered certified business. And so to answer your question, it did not take, for the certification part, it did not take that long. For the MBE, I went through a little longer process, but that wasn't, it was so much help out there, and so many individuals like you that are willing to hold your hand and walk you through the process. So the difficulty came in terms of the newness, the language of the language of the process, but the process itself wasn't difficult at all.
Awesome. So I know it's probably been a minute, but I just want to pause there and truly to share with veterans the benefits. So again, you may be coming out of service, you may have been out of service for a minute. And when you hear about, VOSB, which is veteran-owned small business or service disabled, you think, oh, wow, if I'm service disabled, I won't be able to work or so. It has nothing to do with the state government definition of service disabled. So again, you can be 100% service disabled with the VA, the Veterans Administration, and still be in business, still work if you choose to. So it has nothing to do with that. I know personally from my husband, the experience was he had flat feet and got, a percentage of certification in disability. So I guess the military was not supposed to take veterans that had flat feet. It's something as simple as that, but it qualifies you or gets you in the door of benefits. So again, taking advantage of the advantages, you guys have earned this, okay? You have earned this. So I'm talking to somebody because I meet so many veterans that don't realize that this lane is open for them and what it can afford them as competition or no competition. In other words, green light, go, you go straight to the top. So when you talked about the MBE, normally the MBE is applicable to the state, the federal government. Again, there's differences there.
Right.
Is more in line with the 8A programs and the mentor protege, which they've combined. So there are advantages there for minority owned businesses. Again, set asides that get you attention, that get you green light go in getting there. So again, kudos for you and thank you for sharing that journey. But once you got into, and we say that got into the government, you don't say that with any other industry. It's always you get into
Right,
like it's a club or
right,
something.
right, right,
I like the way you said that too. And it is, it's not like, any other job or industry. We don't say we get into
right.
working 9 to 5, it's getting into the government. Because once you get in, you're in. You're in, and unless you get kicked out for fault of your own or whatever, it's sweet. In other words, the living and the eating is sweet at the table. So that's my journey, and my job is to help as many as I can get
Yeah,
a
and let me and
faith.
let me and let me go back and please, because I want to really emphasize for anyone that's listening to us, if you are a veteran, and this is just my journey. I remember when I was getting out, and we would go through this thing called ACAP, and so you would go through this journey of processing out. And I remember when the VA came and they talked to us, and my mindset is similar to what you said. My mindset when they said, do you have any service-connected disabilities? My mindset was, I'm not disabled. I'm not gonna let you give me this tag. I'm not gonna let you give me this label. And I thought it would impact me of getting a job or whatever, but that's not what it was. And so I want anybody listening to us, something as simple as if you served on a deployment, if you served in a wartime zone, initially you'll get, even for your ears, right? You'll get 10% just for hearing loss, right? You're around that loud equipment and things like that. So just once again, getting into the system, and as you said earlier, you've earned it. You've earned it. And so that was definitely my story at first. I'm not disabled. I'm not going to let you give me this tag, but it was because I lacked the information of what it really meant. So for people like you that are spreading this message, I'm a great proponent of individuals going to the military. My daughter is in the military. She just joined a year ago, joined the Navy, because for us, it became the blueprint. Like I said, this is a success blueprint. Even if you're not a disabled veteran, just being a veteran, so many opportunities are there. And so when I laid that out to my daughter about going to college versus going to the military, I said, listen, in a 4-year span, you're 18 years old. Well, she graduated early, you're 17. In a 4-year span, you'll be 21, 22 years old. At 22 years old, you'll be a military veteran. You'll have a GI Bill, you'll have a VA loan guarantee for a home. And then if you want to go to college, you can still go to college. And by the age of another 4 years, by the age of 26, you now have a college degree, plus being a veteran for the rest of your life. With those type of credentials, you're gonna be all right for the rest of your life, kid. And so she agreed with me. And I'm a veteran, my wife is a veteran. The cadre of people that we hang around are veterans. So she saw the quality of life that we had. And even for the ones that are not in business, they're in government roles. So she saw that lifestyle that just being a part of the military could provide. And so she jumped at it.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad you backed that up, because that's what it's about. I mean, truly, veterans are out here and just, I'll just say, sitting on their assets because they don't realize the benefits. And I want anybody to hear that on top of that, once you're verified with the VA, your kids can go to school. So many don't know that either. So it's like, if you do nothing else, get in position so that you can take advantage of the advantages, because your kids can go to school too. So there's so many.
It's the best 4-year investment. If you're listening to us and you have a kid, I know, especially in our community, you have a lot of people that talk negative about it, but trust me, you're talking to someone who's done it. I put my daughter in it. My brother is a retired warrant officer. And to your point, his daughters are going to college based off of his VA. And so it's like hitting the lottery. I tell people that it's like hitting the lottery. Like I felt like I hit the lottery. It's put us in a home, got us. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I want to, before I let you go, I want to talk about all of the opportunities that are coming down the pipe for 2022. Again, whether you like them, respect them or not, the Biden administration has laid the money on the table. That $3 trillion is coming. It's coming
It's
out.
coming.
Okay. We probably won't see it until the second quarter of next year because they have to get all this together. But I guarantee anywhere in USA right now, some roads are being torn up. That infrastructure is happening in streets. They're probably putting sidewalks where there's absolutely nothing right now, but somebody's got to get money. So again, construction is hot, IT is hot, training is hot. I would say again, I'm in Indianapolis, and signs on every corner, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. So one of the hot things, again, if you are in IT, I'm sorry, in HR, start an HR company. You know, they're trying to get people to the table. Okay. So that's where I come in to help strategize with individuals. What do I do? You know, how do I sell what I have to the government? And I just want to encourage anyone, you know, to understand what the government buys, how you can get in there. It's not easy. Here again, you're looking for multi-year, multi-million-dollar contracts. Of course, you're going to have to be compliant. Of course, you're going to have to share all of your auditing processes. But let me hear what, I guess, pros and cons from your standpoint in your industry, and why you would suggest government contracts.
So definitely, you know, anybody's giving away, for lack of a better term, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Yes, there's going to be a process. Yes, that process is going to be tedious, but I'll be honest with you, it made me a better business individual because it forced me to have my books right. It forced me to invest in my business the right way, get the proper accountants, get the proper tax advisors on my team. And so for me, the frustration of being a part of the program, it made me better because every roadblock that I ran into, it was a learning environment. It was a learning, it's something that I needed to learn. And so once again, especially if you're getting ready to start a company or you're, you know, under 5 years, I would say reach out to your local SBA, reach out to SCORE, and start the process. Even if you're not ready to start the process so they can tell you where you're not meeting the grade. Then you know what to go into correct, especially if you're just starting out. I would say get involved because now you're at a point where you're going to make less mistakes, right? Your business hasn't been running for 3 or 5 years where it's all jacked up. You're still using your business account to go buy groceries and all that kind of stuff. So if you're just now starting out, use their wisdom, use their process to teach you how to be a better business individual. And so every roadblock that I came to, it was just a roadblock because it was information that I didn't know about. But at the end of the day, it helped me be a better individual and a better business person. And so for me, what we would say the obstacles of getting in or the roadblocks to getting in, the benefits far outweigh because the questions that they asked me about my business, the questions that they asked me about my finances, once again, it just made me a better business person. And it helped me scale a lot faster. It helped me get into position a lot faster. And then I knew coming from the military, working with the government, everything's a process. Hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. So I was already mentally prepared for that. But once again, not allowing myself to get frustrated on both sides, working with the 8A program, working with SBA, working with the VA. I just put in my mind, like going back to you talk about benefits, you know, because I did not do it when I initially got out, I went back and added up all of the benefits I missed out on, and literally it was $1 million worth of benefits just because I didn't do what I needed to do when I first did it. And so the longer you wait, the longer you're just sitting on money. Because once again, I remember like when the guy talked to us, I didn't go and do the research and see how much they were paying for VA and all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, oh man, I'm not doing all that work for no $50. I'm not doing all that work for, I didn't know I was leaving thousands of dollars on the table, literally every single month. And so when I factored it out, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 a month over the course of 10 years, it's almost $1 million I left on the table because I didn't go through the process. So I would encourage anybody listening to me, get involved, go through the process. It's, oh my God, it's like hitting the lottery, I'm telling you.
It is. Yeah, I appreciate you breaking that down because the numbers are real and it does come up. So when you know better, you do better. And that's what
Yeah.
we're bringing this to, truly the underground. We're letting you know what's out there and that you have support. And there are free services too. So your choice on how you get to the promised land or have that legacy built for your family. That's what this is all about, leaving a legacy for your family. And that's why I love working with military, because you guys are structured. You're already in order. You understand the protocol. And I do hope that this blesses someone to make the call and start, pulling strings on how do you get to the table, because it's out there. I mean, you think about even the PPP money, whoever would have thought that the government gives you a loan, forgives over half of it, but you got to be in position. That's the thing. You got to be in position.
You got to be in position. And that's, I keep telling everybody, there's not a wealth gap. There's an information gap. There's not a wealth gap. The money's out there. You just brought up Biden and the trillions of dollars. The money is out there. And if the money's not out there, they'll print some more, right? So the money is out there. So what I've figured out and what I realized, there was just an information gap. And when I got into the government programs, I was probably amazed, just like you, you're talking trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars. And I keep going back referencing this because the gentleman told me when I was getting out the military, he said, look here, bro, there's millions and trillions of dollars that the government needs to give away. It's already earmarked. We got to get this money. But I was young. I was, in my 20s. And once again, I was ignorant of the information. But I'll never forget this gentleman telling me, he's like, bruh, this is what he said. You are not the same as when you first came in. Your body is not the same. So even if you don't think you got a service connected disability, file something, do something, because once you get out, it's going to be a little bit harder to file all of this stuff. But while you're in, you can make the claims a lot easier, right? But I was young and I wasn't paying attention and wasn't listening. And so it's one of my biggest regrets, because I literally left money on the table, left money on the table. So yeah, for those that are listening to us, it is well worth it to go through the process. And it's boatloads of money out there, and you just want your piece of it. I don't need all the trillions. I just want my piece of it. And I've been able to create sustainable businesses because of my positioning. I always joke with some of my friends, because of my positioning, minority owned, veteran disabled owned, my wife, who is a partner in the company. So we're female owned. She's half Latino and Black. So we're Latino owned. So I always joke and say, to beat me out on the contract, you got to be Jesus, because my positioning is beast mode. And so when a company hires us, they love hiring us because they can check off all the blocks. Have you worked with a minority? Yes. Have you worked with a veteran? Yes. Have you worked with a female-owned company? Yes. And so they love hiring us because they, in one contract, they can check off all of these boxes.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then that's good strategy there, Will. I appreciate it. You said something about information, the lack of information. That's what they say, the biggest thing you'll ever pay is attention to the wrong people. So it's not even that you pay attention to the wrong people. It's probably in a book, and we know that if we put something in a book, you got to read it. It don't happen. So that's why we're on this platform, to bring it to the street. Yeah, to bring it live and in person and in your living room or what have you. So it has been my pleasure truly to shine the light on your pathway to freedom. I hope that this has been a blessing to those that are in earshot. And Will, let me ask you before we leave, are there any industries or any opportunities that you're looking for within your company to hire, to buy?
Yeah, so we're, and I'm glad you brought that up. And so even being a part of these programs, I got learning information, acquisition, right? Acquisition is a word that we don't usually hear, especially in our communities. And the thought of you can go buy a company, right? You can go buy what you need. And so last year we were able to acquire a HR firm. There was a small business. She was doing some great work, but we were able to buy her company, kept her on, retained her. She was able to get cashed out, but we had the infrastructure to help her grow, and she had the infrastructure that we needed. And so as a company, a lot of times you see these bigger companies doing it. They don't try to just build it from the inside. They just say it's even cheaper, for lack of a better term, to just go acquire a company that's already doing it. So I am looking for an IT company that we're going to be acquiring here in the future to help us scale some things, to help us as the world is going a lot more digital. So instead of trying to figure it out, we're just going to buy a company that can come in and do our internal stuff for us and help us scale and help our clients that we're working with. So yeah, so we are in looking for an IT company. So my website is morelandtraining.com. So you can reach out to us if you're in the IT industry, and we can open up some talks.
I love it. I love it. Will, I'm gonna have to bring you back again because you mentioned working with your wife, and that'll be an entirely different segment on how you work with your wife as a partner. So we won't address it here, but I know.
Definitely look forward to it.
That's awesome. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for letting us shine the light on you. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great time.